I feel blessed, that's evident. I'm the best I've ever been. So if they ask you how I feel, what's up? I'ma tell you I feel amazing. I feel blessed, that's evident. I'm the best I've ever been. So if they ask you how I feel, I'ma tell you I feel amazing. I'ma tell you I feel amazing. I feel blessed, that's evident. I'm the best I've ever been. So if they ask you how I feel, I'ma tell you I feel amazing.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is January 5th. It's a good old Friday, 2024, the first Friday of the new year. How y'all doing? The Playmakers in the building down there. Someone's here for a special Bearing Down the Gridiron episode. I'm going to recap the New Year's Six bowl games for you. And then I'm going to preview the next championship game Monday between Michigan and Washington. I can't wait to get into that. Hopefully, I should have some guests appearing on to help me recap the New Year's Six because a lot that won't happen going into the new year, after the new year, on New Year's, a lot took place. And then we're going to look at the next championship game on Monday. So it's been crazy. Hope you had a great holiday. Hope you enjoyed your Christmas. Hope you enjoyed your New Year's. We are winding down football season, we got one game left in college football. The NFL is getting down to their final week of the regular season, and then we'll be on to the playoffs. So it's been crazy right now. But without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into it. We're going to start off recapping some New Year's Six games. And first on the docket is the Goodyear Cotton Bowl down in the good old state of Texas, where there's a lot of things that happen in the good old state of Texas. Just like the Goodyear Cotton Bowl that featured the Missouri Tigers on the SEC taking on the Ohio State Buckeyes of the Big Ten. And those of you who watched the game, you see the final score. 14-3 win for the Missouri Tigers. Okay. Interesting thing, Marvin Harrison Jr. didn't play the starting quarterback that was at Ohio State. He decided to transfer out. Good to see that Trayvon Henderson did play in this game. J.J. Abuka did play in this game. But, it was all about Missouri. Ohio State jumped out a 3-0 lead, and that's pretty much all they did, with Missouri scoring their 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter to win that game. Brady Cook, 11 for 18, 128 yards passing, and a touchdown. Cody Schreiber, the all-star running back for the Missouri Tigers, another 29 carries for 128 yards and a touchdown. Missouri been doing what Missouri does all year. They win games. They stick with the run. They pass when they need to, and they win games. Was what they did. Shout out to them. Appreciate those. That's a good win for the SEC over the Big Ten in that one. It's good to see that Missouri up and coming, man. Missouri's up and coming. They proved themselves a bit. I got to give them that. Missouri showed up. They came to play in a New Year's Six game, and they proved themselves. I gotta give them their props. They proved themselves on that one. That's the Goodyear Cotton Bowl. From the Goodyear Cotton Bowl, we had another SEC Big Ten matchup down in the ATL of Atlanta, Georgia. It was the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. That featured the Ole Miss Rebels going against the Penn State Nittany Lions. Lion Kiffin won them a big one. James Franklin has yet to win a big one. A great matchup, 38-25. Missouri jumped out to a 10-3 lead. Then it got real interesting at 20-17 at halftime. Ole Miss, and then the second half was dominated by Ole Miss, outscoring the Penn State Nittany Lions 18-8 in the second half. That's winning by 13. Dart 25 for 43, 79, 3 touchdowns through the air. Just picked the Nittany Lions secondary apart left and right. You didn't know what to do. Ferguson had 10 catches, 136 yards of it, and 2 of those 3 touchdowns. I mean, to have your defense give up over 300 yards, close to 400 yards passing, that says a lot right there. And I have no idea what to say on that one. Is that James Franklin lost a big game. Lane Kiffin won a big game. Can't say much more about that. You know, Penn State starters, they played. They just weren't ready. And that's a shame. James Franklin's been there quite a bit of times. He has not been in the college football playoffs. He's been in the Pro Bowl a couple of times, but yet he doesn't have that signature win on his resume. But it's the same thing we was doing with Jim Harbaugh before he started beating Ohio State. And he has done it 3 straight times. And doing it all 3 straight times, he has won 3 straight Big Ten championships. We'll get to Michigan a little later. But nevertheless, Ole Miss gets the dub over Penn State. Another big win for the SEC over the Big Ten. And we keep moving forward. That was the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. From the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl to the Orange Bowl. Down in Miami, Florida. We had an SEC team versus an ACC team. And we just didn't have any 2 particular teams from both of these conferences here going against each other. We had the University of Georgia going against the Florida State University. The 2 teams that had Ipes the Great with the College Football Playoff Committee and what they selected the top 4 teams. We all know about this. Georgia, on one hand, they are mad because in 30 games, which is 3 seasons, they lost 1 game. They lost 1 game, and that 1 game dropped them from number 1 to number 6. They lost 1 game in 30 games, and that 1 game dropped them from number 1 to number 6. Okay, that's the Georgia side of it. The Florida State side of it says 13-0. Winners of the ACC had a loss. They escaped some games, but nevertheless, the outcome was the outcome. They won 13 games. It was 13 games on the schedule. They won 13 of them. They won the ACC, even though it was a lackluster game, a terrible game to watch. They won. They did it with a 3rd-string quarterback. Nevertheless, the CFP says, you're not the same team without your starting quarterback. We can't let you win. We can't let you in. So instead, we'll put you in the Orange Bowl against another team that was left out and feel some type of way about it. Now, how did the game go? This is how the game went. 63-3. That is correct. They got beat by 60. 60, okay? 60 points. University of Georgia dropped 63 on them and only allowed Florida State to get a field goal. Carson Beck played. Milton played. McConkey played. Most of the starters for Georgia played. And they had a list of players that was out, especially on the defensive side. But nevertheless, and plus the best tight end in the game, Bob Ross, he didn't play. He was due to injury. And then on the Florida State side, Playmaker transferred out. Wide receiver sat out. Defensive tackle, defensive lineman, defensive backs, linebackers sat out. List is pretty much comparable, okay? But you had 29 sitting out for Florida State. There's been a lot of arguments about why they sat out and what was going on and all this other stuff. But the Florida State Seminoles took the field, knowing they was nowhere close to 100% because of opt-outs. And this is what the result we got. Carson Betts, 13 for 18, 203, 2 touchdowns. Milton, 9 carries, 104 yards, 2 touchdowns. Bell had a nice game. Georgia scored 9 touchdowns in this game. 9! And Florida State only kicked a field goal. A field goal. That's all they got is a field goal. Out of this whole entire process, a field goal. This is what, and this is what I said after the game of the Orange Bowl. Exactly what I said. I put this on Facebook. I put it out there, and I got a lot of reaction to this. That first statement, however, says what you all have seen in this Orange Bowl is two different philosophies. The Florida State philosophy, they cried about being left out of the college football playoff. Did they deserve to cry? Did they deserve to have a gripe? Sure. Okay, you went 13-0. Nobody's going to blame you for feeling some type of way for being left out because you went 13-0. Okay? But then they put you up against Georgia, the other team that was left out and shouldn't have been left out. And it's still, you guys opt out. Georgia, on the other hand, led by Kirby Smart, said, all right, you left us out. We only lost one game, but yet you want to leave us out? Fine. That's what we're going to do. Those of you who are hurt, we don't mind you not playing. You're hurt. You got legit injuries. Those of you who are healthy, go out there and let's play. And when we play, we're going to take the field and we're going to send a message. We are going to send a message to everybody in the CFP. Because everybody in the world knows we're doing the best 14. Georgia's one of the best 14s, correct? There's no argument on that. If you do a top 4 teams of this season, Georgia is in your top 4 somewhere. They 1 through 4, and they are not outside of it. If you put them outside of your top 4, then you don't know football then. Okay? Anybody who watches football, sees the season, they know Georgia's one of the best 4 teams. So the fact the committee left them out after losing to Alabama, okay, we're going to prove it to you. One team took what the committee did and said, watch this, and the other one basically quit. Georgia said, watch this. They dropped 63. They dropped 63 on Florida State. 63. Florida State decided not. They showed up, but decided not to show up. What's the point of you even being in the bowl game anyway? And guess what? Kirby Smart had something to say about it. Kirby Smart said, look here, let me say this. Because he was adamant. This is the winning coach who just won by 60. This is what he said in the post game. Let me say something, and I may be wrong here, and maybe this will be a bad soundbite, but people need to see what happened tonight. They need to fix this. It needs to be fixed. It's very unfortunate that they, talking to Florida State, who has a good football team, a good football program, are in the position they're in. Everybody can say it's their fault, it's their own problem. All right. And everybody can say we had our guys and they didn't have theirs. I can listen to all that. But college football has got to decide what they want. And I know things are changing. I know things are going to change next year. You know what? There's going to be still bowl games outside of those. People got to decide what they want and what they really want to get out of it, because it's really unfortunate that those kids, talking about Florida State, that had to play in that game didn't have their full arsenal and affected the game 100%. That's from the coach who won by 60. He won by 60. And this is his coach after the game. Okay? And I agree with everything he said. He wasn't taking shots at Florida State. He was taking a shot at college football. The people, the body government of college football. You know why? Because let's face it. I said what I said about Florida State. I ain't changing that. But the body governments of college football need to understand this. When you put a playoff system in place and you crown for the best 4 teams, how do you find the best 4 teams? How do you find the best 4 teams? I mean, If you allow me, I didn't put it in the slide. I ain't put it in the slide, but I can pull it up because I did find a way to get the criterias for the college football committee. If I can find it real quickly, because y'all want the best 4 teams, and which is a hard thing to try to find. Is the best 4 teams. Usually, until this season, you really didn't have much of a. There's always going to be a team who have a problem, but you really didn't have much of a right. Because we can tell, we can actually look and tell who the best 4 teams are for the most part. Until this year, you had a situation on your hand. You had an undefeated team, and you had a back-to-back national champion team who lost 1 game in 30 games. So here it is, right here. Notable selection criteria. CFP selection committee. One thing they look at: conference champion. Florida State conference champion. Georgia not. Strength of schedule or head-to-head competition. Obviously, 2 different conferences. Georgia's strength of schedule is in the top 10. Florida State's strength of schedule is in the 50s. Competitive outcome of common opponents. I don't think Georgia or Florida State played a common opponent. No, they played Florida. One team beat the brakes off Florida, and that was right here in Jacksonville, and the other team escaped Gainesville and the Swamp. Let you figure out what team did the damage to Florida and what team escaped the Gators in the Swamp. Other relative factors such as unavailable of key players, coaches that might have affected a team's performance during the season or likely will affect its postseason performance. That's when Jordan Travis became the reason why Florida State couldn't get in, which is unfortunate for him because he can't help it. He got injured. I mean, and there's an awful injury at that. He can't help that happened to him. So to actually make him the quote unquote reason why is pretty much a bad look for college football because you basically said, yeah, without Jordan Travis, you're not the same team. The fact that he got injured, we can't, it's not going to be worth it for us. We'll put Texas and Alabama in. Basically what they said, basically what they did. So, but yeah, that's the criteria for the college football committee. Now we're going to be interested if that criteria stays the same, knowing that we're going to 12 teams next year and not just 4. We added 8 more teams. 8 more teams to this mix. And then, like Kirby Smart said, they need to find out what they want to do because you adding 8 teams. There's a lot more board games. And what you're going to do with the games is not a part of the college football playoff system. Because you got some pretty much how I see it right now, round 1, which would be the 4 games will be at whoever's the higher seeds home place. So number 5 will host 12, 6 will host 11, 7 versus 10, and 8 versus 9. Whoever's the higher seed gets home field advantage. And those teams will move on to the next round and face the top 14 because the top 4 teams get a bye week. How you determine the top 14, that's going to be interesting who gets by because you have 5 Power 5, where you get down to 4 now. We'll see what the Pac-12 does going forward in the coming months before the next college football season. But basically, you're down to 4 right now. And those 4 conference championships will get buys because they won their conference. You're automatically in if you win your conference. You get your top group of 5 team gets an opportunity. And most of the time or not, they're going to be on the road. So they're going to have to pull off an upset at somebody else's place to advance. That's going to be fun to see. And then we're going to move on from there. And it's going to be as simple as that until we get a national champion. So there's more games and whatnot. But yeah, I'm with Kirby Smart 100% because what college football has going on is not it. And other thing they need to fix is this damn transfer portal while I'm at it. Because why people can transfer when we have bowl season going on? Move the season up if that's the case, so that we get football done before the new year ends. Okay, because you do not want to compete with the NFL and playoff system. Okay, that's not going to happen because people are going to watch the NFL regardless. But y'all need to do something college football. Y'all got to do something. Like, seriously. I said what I said about Florida State. They quit. That's what they did. They crying them on, they complained and all that stuff, and they quit. They showed up and quit, which is stupid. If you're going to do that, don't even show up to play the damn game because they showed up and quit. We understand the reason why, but guess what? If you're going to show up, show the hell up. And you was playing Georgia. It wasn't like you was playing some nobody who didn't have a chance. You played Georgia, the back-to-back reigning national champions, who got left out because they lost to Alabama. One game out of 30. That's why they felt disrespected. And they showed up and kicked your ass. Yeah, basically quit. Ain't no Florida State fan or no party that's defending Florida State can change my damn mind. I said what I said. I'll show you to you again. I said what the hell I said. I'm not backing down. I don't care who dislikes it. Florida State quit. And they got what they deserved. They got their ass whooped. Now, before I take my break, got a special guest here. Before we get to the Fiesta Bowl, ladies and gentlemen, the EP of all EPs, the mad scientist himself. He's been on this program before, and he's joined me again. Ladies and gentlemen, Coach Johnson. Going on, Mr. Johnson?
Well, firstly, Happy New Year, sir. And secondly, thank you for inviting me back on your platform. I appreciate it.
All right, I was going to get to the rest about this. The Orange Bowl, anything you would like to say regarding the Orange Bowl that we saw down in Miami, Florida?
There are a lot of politicians that are wearing egg on their faces because you actually had these. All right. So we go to Tallahassee. We go onto the campus of Florida State, and we see that, understandably, the whole university's in their feelings about Florida State not being in the CFP, yet being undefeated in the Power 5 conference. I understand that. All in your feelings, and we all understood that. We all understood it. We all saw it. We all grabbed a hold onto it. The problem, though, is that there's advice that you normally get in these situations. It's not what happens to you in adversity, it's how you respond to it. And unfortunately, Florida State as a whole collective responded horribly to it. I mean, they responded as if their feelings were hurt all the way, butthurt all the way. Let's get out of ACC. Let's lobby to our senator and even to our governor of the state so we can probably sue the CFP. And then the coup de grace. You all allow these wonderful teens and early 20s gentlemen to say, you know what? We're not going to take that trip to Miami. We'll sit out. So you had 29 of your players sit out, and then we see this. A 63-3 butt whooping given to you by until Monday night, the two-time defending national champs in Georgia. Now the messed up thing is Georgia understood the assignment. They wanted to show the CFP, okay, we understood we have one loss, but we still think we're one of the 4 best teams. Let's show you why. Florida State, on the hand, was like, well, we already went undefeated. You didn't respect us. Well, screw you. We're just going to screw the whole thing out of the whole picture. And now you don't have a leg on which to stand. Now you can't even have a Ron DeSantis run right on your behalf. You can't even have a Marco Rubio politic on your behalf. You can't even have a Fred Scott politic on your behalf. Why? Because now the CFP can say, remember the excuse we actually gave you that we actually rode hard on in a month ago and saying that we don't believe this team is worth it because, well, we have second and third stringers playing on your team. Well, you had second and third stringers play all throughout that game against a top 5 ranked team, or I should say top 10 ranked team, but they'll be top 5 at the end of the year.
That's still disrespectful. We dropped them from 1 to 6.
Yeah. And they got boat raced by 60. Thank you, Florida State. You proved the college football playoff committee's point for them. I know this isn't what you thought, because you thought this protest would make us be all in our fields and say, oh, you were undefeated in the Power Five, and oh my, we feel as though you got cheated out of your spot as one of the 4 best teams to vie for the national championship. Oh no, this is a crime and a travesty. You pitch a protest, and this is what results. So now, when Florida's legislature meets next week, or if you're watching this later, like next week, when they meet this week, you can't have your wonderful governor walk up to the legislation floor and say, you know what, let's push this to law. Let's give Florida State $1 million so they can actually sue the college football player committee. Now you're going to have all that floor in Tallahassee laugh, like many people on social media did, like many people in media did, and like many in college football did when they saw how you got destroyed. And you didn't have to be. But you all decided to be in your feelings. And instead of choosing to show us all, well, wait a minute, they were wronged, and their performance in Miami showed us why they were wronged. You're like, you proved the college football playoff committee right. Oh, well, that's what you get. And now you are crying foul to the ACC, which this all could have been avoided because you would have been invited into the playoff, because that 4 playoff team playoff pool could have been expanded to 12. But the conference in which you are affiliated with, even to this moment, they decided to say, not this year. So if you're going to direct your iron somewhere, Florida State fan, Florida State organization, Florida State chancellor, Florida State student, Florida State fan, if you're going to, or Florida State player, if you're going to channel your energy in anger in one direction, go to the Atlantic Coastal Conference.
I think everything you said, I think that is right in here somewhere, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I said what I said.
And you were, and there's not it's not one syllable where you were wrong. Not one. Not one. Not a
right.
one.
Thoughts on what Kirby Smart had to say after the game.
You know, I agree with it. I think it was embarrassing. You don't, and you're talking to the guy who
won by 60.
They won the game by 60. But you're also talking to the coach of a guy who has led his program the 2 previous years to holding that crystal football. And so the thought process is, when you get to the bowl season, put your best foot forward. And he actually witnessed on the field a team that didn't put their best foot forward. And as a competitor, that is highly insulting. Highly. And it does put a stain on college football. But it's not his fault, and it's not Georgia's fault. And it's not even the CFP's fault either. This actually lies on the lap of Florida State. They decided to basically, what's the saying? Take their ball and go home. Well, congratulations. In the 13 games you played, you ran the table. That's great. But you played a 14th game and didn't want to represent your college.
All right. Before we take a break, anything you want to talk about? I already talked about the Cotton Bowl, the Peach Bowl, and the Orange Bowl. So you already got to the Orange Bowl. Cotton Bowl and Peach Bowl, anything you want to say about that? I know, give you credit because me was on the same boat when we talked about the Peach Bowl, Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss doing their thing.
Yeah. As far as I'm so sorry. I laugh every time I think of Penn State and playing a top 10 team because, oh, Mr. Franklin, you just can't beat a top 10 ranked team for your life, can you? Oh my gosh.
Nah.
So you have another opportunity to win, to play and beat a top 10 ranked team, and you fail again. And this wasn't even a Big Ten team. This was an SEC squad. Not even the best, not even the second best SEC squad. And you still lost to them. And not even the third best, and you still lost to them. As far as the Cotton Bowl is concerned, I think I find it laughable that you had Missouri, Ohio State, right?
Yep, Missouri, Ohio State.
That's what I thought. I wanted to make sure I had this. I find it laughable that you had Mr. Day, the head coach of Ohio State, was having this big back bold persona and saying that Ohio State was disrespected, and how dare people sleep on this on this institution? How dare the program get slighted? At that big time win in South Bend, where he wanted people to know that Ohio State's on the map. Well, you took an L in Ann Arbor and you took an L in Arlington. I guess you're not as big time as you are, and then in between, you lose your starting quarterback Kyle McCord because he said deuces and went into the transfer portal. Oh, Ryan Day, you not only are not measuring up to Michigan, you're not measuring up as a top 10 ranked program, and when you produce that many L's in Columbus. The pink slip is coming soon, son. Prepare for it.
I'll get back to the transfer portal later. Let me get to this before we take our break. You had the Fiesta Bowl, and the game that you and Cool McKay was like, really college football. This is what y'all gonna give us? And y'all was right.
Why? Okay. The only thing I really have to say is, why are you going to offer a program like Liberty being lambs led to slaughter? Now, you have a program in Oregon who they feel as though they could be right up there with Michigan, Washington. Well, let me do Washington last. Michigan, Texas, Alabama, and definitely Washington. They feel as though they are amongst those, and the reason being, and they have a right to feel that way, is because they lost to Washington twice by field goals each time they played them. Once in Seattle and then once in Vegas, when it was for the last, at least for now, Pac-12 championship. So you have a team that wants to prove that they belong in, not necessarily as one of the four, but maybe number 5. And so they wanted to show that they're one of the 5 best teams in the country. And then, look, I love the Liberty University. It's a great university. I love it.
Now, before Cole continues, we're not saying that giving a group of 5 team an opportunity is not the problem.
No. No.
It's the team that they chose to be the top group of 5 team.
Right.
It's the problem.
Yeah. I'm glad that they rolled the red carpet to a team that's outside the Power 5. Yeah, that's cool. But come on. You, Cool, and I, all 3 of us knew as soon as we saw this, is like, Oregon's gonna have their way with them. They had no answer for Oregon, and you only have one school this year who did, and even with the answer, they only lost by 3 points each time they played them.
You already know. Me personally, that should have been James Madison's spot.
Oh yeah, they earned it, but they decided to hold them out for disciplinary reasons, so they could discipline James Madison. But Michigan, on the other hand, you can't lay a finger on.
They weren't even disciplinary reasons. So stupid transfer reason. You came from SCS to the FBS. You have to wait 2 years. Why we got to wait 2 years?
It's a bunch of crap.
2 years? And then you told them, well, won't you play all FBS schools?
FBS. Mm-hmm.
They did. And y'all got out of that because Appalachian State went in there.
Yeah, about to say, yeah, they only lost one game, and they had a collective because of Appalachian State. Yes.
Who got their butts kicked by Troy, which should have been James Madison.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot going on in college football, but I'm gonna save that to the end when Coop can go actually off on the NCAA.
Mm-hmm.
But we're gonna take a break right here for the Group of Five, and then when we come back, we're gonna cap off the New Year's Six with the semifinals of both games, and we're gonna preview the next championship game. All right, we'll be back.
The Playmaker Spot is sponsored by Lids. Locker Rooms by Lids. Shop hats and official sports gear at Lids. Lids, the leader and number one destination for hats, gears, and everything that moves you. Make it a perfect shop for fans to find official sports hats, merchandise, and gears. Represent your team, your town, and your style with a snapback, adjustable, fitted hat, or beanie from thousands of college and professional teams. Browse the very latest jerseys and t-shirts for the best teams out there. Lids has officially licensed professional and college sports teams apparel and hats featuring the hottest brands and trends. Shop online or visit one of the 100 stores across the country. Locker Rooms by Lids. Shooting lights out.
Joel Embiid has been a monster during his 8-game streak, scoring 35.6 points per game, shooting 55.7% from the field, shooting 52.4% from three-point range, and while averaging 10 rebounds a game during his 8-game winning streak. Ben Carroll is leading the way in my book for Rookie of the Year. 9-game winning streak that they got going on. Because if they do, you're going to see a lot more of this when it comes to the Memphis Grizzlies. And don't be surprised when they be mugging you, looking like some. When they play ball, you see the results. 13-3 in their last 16 games. At the 9-minute mark in the third quarter, the Portland Trail Blazers was up 78-53. That is a 25-point. This is after this took place in the second quarter. We going for the second quarter. 25 straight Big East games from last season to this season. They are 0-25. This could be catching his last year as the head coach of the Western Hornets. More of this, less of that. More of this, less of that. Okay?
All streaming platforms, including Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and a whole lot more. This has been Shooting Lights Out.
Masterpiece.
All right, welcome back to Bearing Down the Gridiron, a special edition recapping the New Year's Six and going to get ready for the national championship game Monday. And yes, y'all saw Shooting Lights Out. Oh yeah, that's coming. And I believe probably Coach Johnson one of his favorite basketball programs because he helped put it together.
Thank you.
So trust me, it's coming. Especially if y'all caught my last one before the New Year ended, which Cole did, and pretty sure he enjoyed that one.
Yes, it did, and it still continues. That makes me feel. Oh, I'm sorry. My bad.
We're not there. We're not there yet.
I know.
We're not there yet. Ooh, we ain't there yet. It's coming though. But yeah, let's get to it. Now we got through the New Year's Six bowls. Now we got the CFP Semifinal games, and we kick it off down in Pasadena, California. The Rose Bowl with number one Michigan outside of the Big Ten, taking on the fourth team in the CFP rankings from the SEC, the Alabama Crimson Tide. Jim Harbaugh versus Nick Saban. What can happen here? Well, Jim Harbaugh got over the hump. Luckily, by the way, fortunately, by the way, but he got over the hump. 27-20 in overtime victory over Nick Saban. Now, I was on Snowman on the morning Tuesday, and me and Snowman had a talk. First half, Alabama was fortunate. They had some things bounce their way, which helped them get the lead. Second half, Michigan was fortunate, especially on that last punt before the game ended to send the game in overtime. Cole, I was like, if Alabama falls on that football, this game's over.
Mm-hmm.
But luckily enough, Michigan jumped on it. They was able to take the lead, get into overtime, and they gave it to Blake Corum, their best player on the field, in overtime. That's pretty much what Michigan did.
Right.
And then the final snap of the game. That center had issues all game long. Now here's my thing. You set it up. You hit the 3-yard line. Jim Harbaugh says timeout. I don't like what I see from Alabama. I don't like what I see. Timeout. We need y'all come over here. Let's get some things straightened out. Come out of timeout. Nick Saban says, based on what we talk about, I don't like what we're seeing from Michigan. Timeout. All right, come here, OC. Pretend bring team over. What we doing here? What is our best play? We need 3 yards. We gotta have 3 yards. There's nothing, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. We gotta have 3. What if it's the low stop problem from the center again or not? You caught a quarterback run on 4th down? A quarterback run on 4th down. That's the play we going with. Michigan knew what was going to happen because they shot every gap.
You had Milroe. Well, you knew that's what was going to happen. I mean, they trust his legs more than his arm. I mean, I don't know what to tell you.
Man, look. I get it. And there's Mr. McCain right there.
What's up?
I wish he wanted to be on, but he couldn't be on. He had some things to do. I'm pretty sure I would have loved to hear what he had to say about that Orange Bowl, though. Oh, stress me out.
Same here.
I would have loved what you had to say about that Orange Bowl, but nevertheless.
Nikki Type-Siliani style. Calling
Quarterback
Nick Saban. Wow.
That's not Nick Saban's fault. One thing that I say this, and I think Cole, I think you agree with this. Cool, probably agree with this too. Nick Saban is like the only coach that I know who actually let his coordinators do their job.
Yeah, and I mean he learned from Bill Belichick, and that's how they roll. I mean they and of course Belichick learned from Parcells, and that's how Parcells was. Bill Parcells. Saban learned that he is the CEO of the team, and the coordinators have the power to do what they wish, as long as it's within reason, of course, and it lends itself to the overall success of the program. Yeah, so it doesn't surprise me that Saban is when it comes to on the field strategy is hands off, but he'll probably throw in suggestions every now and then.
So your offensive coordinator called a quarterback draw when you need 3 yards against a D line who was killing your offensive line the whole entire game.
Like I said, I mean, they trusted his legs more than his arm. I mean, that's how they got back to actually getting to the CFP. It was Milroe with timely passes and timely runs. And I agree with you, Cool. That play should have been overwritten by him. I agree with you there.
I went a step further with Snowman. This is what I say. I say, you know what college football is missing? The ability to have their quarterback check out of a play. Look at the defense. Give them 2 plays. All right, this is what we gonna do. This is the initial play, the run play, right?
Yeah.
But if you see 8 men in the box,
yeah,
we going to this play.
Yeah, but yeah, you see this look, switch to this play. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They should have gave Jerry Mills 2 plays. All right, if you see this, check out of that, go to the other play, and we'll go for that.
But I really do feel as though it's sort of the dance with what brung you type of thing. And yes, I know that is improper grammar. Deal with it.
I understand that.
I know you understand it, brother. And I think I think with Bama in that moment, that's what they were caught in. It was like, okay, well, we got here with this. We're going to continue with this instead of seeing, like you said, seeing that Michigan and they didn't just dominate Alabama up front. They've been dominating just about every program up front all year. Like you said, you got to take advantage of those frothing at the mouth defensive linemen and ends when they know that they can pin their ears back and just say, okay, whether it's a quick step drop in the throw or it's a run, we know that we can probably collapse that pocket and hit those gaps. We have every intention of just making the Alabama front mincemeat, and they did.
Not to have that. The snap was low as hell.
Mm-hmm. And then, of course, being that I played on offensive line, that doesn't bode well for your quarterback either.
Speak to that, because that center had problems all game.
One, people don't talk enough about. You hear people talk about the synergy that quarterbacks should have with wide receivers, and they should. The synergy that the quarterback has with his tight end, and he should. And even the synergy that sometimes the quarterbacks have with running backs, but normally it's running backs and their relationship with the offensive line. Understood. I will definitely say to you, I will challenge anybody and say the most important part of chemistry on offense starts with the center to quarterback exchange. And there has to be a trust built with the center and the quarterback. You got to make sure that the center makes it comfortable for the quarterback when the ball is snapped, whether it is straight underneath center or in shotgun. You got to make sure that there's a trust that's built between the center and the quarterback, because if not, you're going to have trouble and problems, and you're going to have off-time plays almost every time on an offense. Because if you don't have that nailed down, you got to have the quarterback adjust to make sure that he can cover for a bad center quarterback exchange. And you can't have that in any game, much less a national semifinal game, let alone a national championship game. That has to be buttoned up.
Quarterback, center, rough.
Mm-hmm.
Merrill's got sacked 5 times in the first quarter.
And saying it leads to those things. It leads to sacks. It can lead to turnovers. It can lead to disastrous 3 and outs. It can stop a drive. Like if you're actually clicking and you have a miscue, you could probably snap yourself out of field goal range. The center quarterback exchange is hugely important.
You know who didn't have problems? Michigan's offense. Outside of the first play of the game, when J.J. McCarthy literally threw a pick, but the defender stepped out of bounds before catching the ball. J.J. McCarthy played the game very well. I have no issues with J.J. McCarthy. I have nothing to say.
I've had no issue with him all year. I think he learned his lesson from the national semifinal last year, where there was times he was on and then there was times he was mistake prone, because I really believe the moment was too big for him. In Pasadena, the moment didn't look too big. He actually looked like he was the calming influence for the rest of the team, which that's what you want out of your quarterback.
He played phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. He threw 3 touchdown passes against Nick Saban's defense.
Mm-hmm. Which is not easy to do.
But when it mattered most, the best player on the field had the last say. Blake Carl.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you do.
Man, I'm glad he's gotten a chance to shine again.
All right, so Alabama goes down. Jim Harbaugh moves on. He's over the hump.
But
Who would join him?
I will tip my cap to Alabama. You belonged on that stage. You just weren't good enough, but you belonged on that stage. So congratulations on a good year. You just ran to a better team that was more poised. Period.
Who's going to join Jim Harbaugh and the Wolverines in Cole's hometown of Houston, Texas, on Monday? It was the All-State Sugar Bowl down in New Orleans, Louisiana, and it was a shootout, to say the least. You had Quinn Ewers and the Texas Longhorns, Cole's Texas Longhorns from the Big 12 for the final time against the Pac-12 champions, a guy who was a Heisman hopeful, and Michael Pittman Jr. What was going to happen? Man.
What a game. What a game.
Look here.
What a game.
Washington should have put this game to bed
More
early
than once.
in the fourth quarter.
More than once.
But you didn't, and you put the ball in Quinn Ewers' hands, and he almost did the unthinkable.
Longhorns were 12 yards away from stealing a game they never led. Just think about that. Just think about that. They were 12 yards away from stealing a game they never led.
Which is actually surprising because we know Washington defense, not the best defense in the world.
No. It's a bend and sometimes break defense. Yes.
But man, Michael Pittman Jr. was
untouchable. That's the only word I have about Michael Penix Jr. Untouchable. And look, I have a lot of respect for Jayden Daniels. I mean, he had a really good campaign for LSU, and I'm not going to say that the wrong man got the Heisman, but what I saw from Michael Penix Jr. in the Sugar Bowl, whew, the Texas defense had no answer for him.
When you and Koo was on here, what did I say about the Pac-12 championship? What did I say when it came to the Heisman? I said the winner. I said the winner of this game is going to win the Heisman.
Mm-hmm. And it should have been to me. It should have been Michael Penix Jr. But I had a feeling that it was going to go the way of Jayden Daniels simply because there's well.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Snowman already did it to me this week. Don't you do it?
They have a bias. They have an East Coast bias. And I think to me that is part of the reason why you're seeing Oregon and Washington hop their butts all the way from the West Coast and join the Big Ten.
For those of you who don't know, Jayden Daniels won the Heisman off one game.
Basically.
And that's why I was telling Cole don't do it. Because that one game came against my team.
Florida. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And by the way, LSU needed every last one of them.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't like he did everything. He broke records and all that, and it was a blowout. No, right. he needed to do all that against Florida.
Mm-hmm. But the thing is,
because Florida walked in, which is I would give Billy Napier this. You went down to Death Valley in prime time, and you gave LSU everything they could handle.
Mm-hmm.
Usually, that game is a disaster for us.
Mm-hmm.
That's why Jayden Daniels went crazy the way he did.
But yeah, kudos to him. And look, cool. I watched him in the L in Tuscaloosa. They didn't lose that game because of him. Jayden Daniels actually was the one who kept them in that game. That defense couldn't hold a cold.
They couldn't start Jimmy Murrow.
They couldn't do jack. And so, the final score I think was 42-27. Jayden Daniels balled in that game. He did his best to ball against Ole Miss, and they took an L there because their defense couldn't hold water against Ole Miss. So, yeah, Daniels was a beast, but the way I saw Michael Penix Jr. just slice, dice, and destroy and dismantle that Texas defense, man. I mean, I looked at these highlights and I'm like, can anybody on Texas lay a finger on Penix? Anybody lay a finger. And then the passes he threw it in tight windows, led receivers. I'm like, I'm seeing NFL quality play out of a college quarterback. I'm like, this dude might be ready for the NFL if he gets on the right team. Because Texas had no answer for Michael Penix Jr. Zilch. Zero. None. No answer. And the only possible answer that you could have had wasn't going to be on defense. It had to be on the opposing offense. And they almost pulled it out. But Washington made one more play in Texas, and that's why they advanced.
Yeah, they advanced. So Washington, undefeated. Michigan, undefeated. Which leads to this.
Oh, and before you go there, to the dummies who had the audacity to form out of their mouths to say Alabama and Texas didn't belong because they took L's. One game went no overtime. The other game, the other loser was only 12 yards away from winning the game. It wasn't that they weren't deserving of the spot. It was Alabama was not as good as Michigan, and Texas wasn't as good as Washington. That's it. And unfortunately, you have a winner and a loser, and you have to tip your cap to the better team. But both Texas and Alabama in the Rose Bowl and Texas in the Superdome, they laid it out there. They have nothing to be ashamed about. They just win against better teams.
Here's my thing, and I say this every year. I don't have to say it no more because we're going to 12 teams now. Mm-hmm. There is a difference between best and deserve.
Mm-hmm.
When are y'all gonna get that thing y'all scroll up? They literally said at the beginning of this, we want the best 4 teams. Mm-hmm. And so subjective that is, that's what they said.
That's what he said. I gotta clap it up. That's what they picked. They picked the 4 best teams.
I still disagree, but
Florida State was not going to give a match for Michigan nor Washington.
No,
I'm sorry.
I'm not talking about Florida State. I'm talking about that other team.
Oh, you think Georgia should have been in place of Alabama? That wasn't going to happen.
I know that wasn't going to happen, but if we're doing the best 4 teams, find outside of Florida State, because they can't say what I want to say. Anybody who knows football and watches football, Georgia is in their top 4 and not outside of it. Guarantee you that.
The only problem is, and we've seen this in college football year after year after year, a team that just steamrolls everybody like Georgia did this. Well, they didn't really steamroll, but they just were the better team in every game they played. And they get to the penultimate game where if they win, of course, they'll be the number 1 ranked team in the playoffs. But if they lose, they'll be all the way out. It depended on the team that they played. And it was Alabama. And they took the L. And Cool said it better than I could. Georgia took the L in December.
They took the L at the wrong time.
They took the L in December, heck, even they could probably even recover from a November L. Definitely from an October or a September L, but they have a December L. That's what held them out. And to the other point, Alabama, the team that did get in there in place of Georgia, they had an L. What month was that, Playmaker?
October.
Mm-hmm. The first Saturday in October.
September. September.
Oh, no, it was the last Saturday in September. The last Saturday in September. That's when they took the L. So, and this is something that we have seen for decades. And they have said it numerous times. It's better to lose early than to lose late. And it doesn't matter how good of a team you are. If you take the L in Thanksgiving or later, forget you. You're not going to be a national championship contender.
Well, I don't have to worry about that next year. We're going
Thank
to
the
12
Lord.
teams.
Thank the Lord.
I want to see the criteria when they do the 12 teams. I want that criteria.
Thank the Lord.
Because to be honest with you, they actually followed the criteria.
Yeah, they did.
That early. I did that earlier before you hopped on. I went through the criteria.
They did.
They followed the criteria. What's the criteria going to be for 12 teams? I already know the main parts. Conference champions automatically in. Top group 5 team automatically in. Those are you. Well, I should say top 4 conference championship because we don't even know what the Pac-12 will be going into the next season.
It'll be a pack nothing after this year.
So that should be fun. National championship game this Monday coming 7:30 on ESPN down in Houston, Texas.
H10.
And shout out to Houston, Texas, by the way. They got a primetime game coming up tomorrow.
Tomorrow night.
A very important game up in Indianapolis.
No sport game of their franchise in 4 years. I hope they can pull it out in Indy.
Now, here we are. This is where we stand at so far.
Mm-hmm.
Both teams are 14-0. It's 1 versus 2. And guess what? That's what you want in the national championship. You want number 1 versus number 2, no matter what.
Mm-hmm. You do.
Does it always happen? No. But this year, it happened. So we're grateful.
Well, heck, it didn't happen last year, and we saw what happened in the national championship.
No, because our number 2 team, who was number 1 this year, got steamrolled by that team that people said shouldn't have been there.
Right.
But they beat Michigan.
Right.
Yeah. 70.
But yes, by the design of how the college football playoff committee wanted it, this is exactly what they designed. It went according to plan. I can't argue with them.
74% blue.
And I agree with that.
And we seen this in sports a lot. I say this to Snowman. Say it here. See a cool and Cole's agree with me. They got over the hump. If I'm Washington, I'm trying to find whatever I can use for motivation because Michigan don't need no motivation. They got over the hump.
No, they don't need motivation. They now believe they're the best team in the land. Now it's a matter of proving it. And they got over 2 hurdles from one stone. One hurdle being, a Michigan team led by Harbaugh can't play in the national championship because for some reason he'll find a way to choke the game away. Didn't.
Almost.
And almost, but didn't. And then, by the way, we don't think a Big Ten team has a chance against an SEC squad.
I mean, you went against the best coach that's living in college football.
You went against the biggest institution the SEC has had probably since Spurrier. And I know that makes you smile when I say that, sir. And the team looked that squad in the face, took their best shot, actually went overtime, and they conquered.
Hey, we gonna be honest. Let's just be honest. Jim Harbaugh outcoached Nick Saban, which is like hard to say.
He did.
Jim Harbaugh outcoached Saban.
Yeah, Harbaugh outcoached Saban. He did. No question. Yes.
The thing that you had never thought would utter out of people's mouth. There you go.
I know. It was hard for me to say that too when I watched it back. I was like, "Wow, wait, you mean tell me Harbaugh actually outcoached the best coach in college football? Really? Wow."
He did.
Surprised.
He did.
And he did.
I have no worries about that. So
I don't either.
He better, or he better.
Oh.
That's all I gotta say. He better, or there's gonna be some problems in LA.
No, you don't need to take it to LA.
Why not? My dude need a coach. Okay, my dude needs a coach right now.
He does not need to. He does not need the. He does not. Okay, so I know he has a great quarterback in Justin Herbert. has no running game of which to speak, has a decent defense if they can stay healthy. That organization, though, with the ownership group, absolutely sucks because they need to go back to San Diego. I'm sorry. This is pro football. We're not talking about pro football. But yeah, Michigan will hate to see Harbaugh leave. They'll hate to see
4.5 favorite. And trust me, that stadium will be filled to capacity.
Oh yeah. 72,000 strong. Oh yeah, no question.
So I'm looking forward.
No question, because Houston loves their football.
And right now,
whether
there's only one group of people outside of Washington. I'm not counting Washington fan base. Okay, I'm not counting them. So it's one group of people that I know who is pulling for Washington to win this game.
Ohio State.
No, well, yeah, that too, but that's not the group of people I'm talking about. That's not the group of people I'm talking about. And Cool McCain gonna love this. You might love it too, Cole. Those idiots in the NCAA. Because you idiots could have avoided this the whole entire time. But you decided to take your sweet behind time. And guess who's in a national championship? You see that big yellow M right there? What a way for Jim Harbaugh to lead college football and to tell y'all to kiss it. Idiots.
NCAA, they don't have the balls to move out that maze M. They don't have the balls to do it. And they have proven it. They had a chance to actually move them up out the paint because we know how fickle the NCAA is. They will penalize you if you look wrong. They had a chance to actually say, you know what? We're seeing so many people say that you all are cheating the game. You know what? I think you all need to sit. They didn't do that. They allowed they just had the Big Ten do it. And so the Big Ten was like, okay, we'll run an investigation. Okay, well, we don't want to see nothing, but you know what? How about you spend the final 3 games of the regular season? And I think your team will eat it because either you will lose in Penn State or you'll lose to Ohio State and Ann Arbor.
They beat the brakes off Penn State and James Franklin in Happy Valley. But it's like 30-something straight runs? That's
yeah, just pound them. Just pounded them.
Over and over and over. That's Cole Johnson type of football.
The game that I love seeing. I love it. I love it when an offensive line and an offensive coordinator is saying, "You just simply ain't man enough, and you know we're gonna run it right down your throat. Come and stop us."
And this is James Franklin of Penn State we're talking about.
Yeah.
In Pennsylvania. Not in Michigan, in Pennsylvania.
Right. A team that prides itself on being linebacker you and having good run defense.
Just continue to.
You can't stop. You ain't
just,
man enough.
That's just disheartening.
We're just gonna punk the crap out of you.
That's just disheartening.
It is. That's the reason why I love the team. I love teams that actually are run oriented, because it is a mentality. More than it's fun to see running backs pick holes and just dart through the line, or run to the sides.
Hey JJ, take it easy. You just gonna hand it off for a while.
Just having an offensive line saying to the opposing defensive line, "Y'all can't stop this." Heck, we'll even tell you to play. We'll tell you the gap where we're running it, and you still won't stop it. That exhilarating.
And then,
man, I love
and
it.
then you had your trap game at Maryland.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't having it.
No.
And then
after they say, like, okay, we took your best shot. Okay, let's all right. Let's get home and prepare for Ohio State. Let's take care of this.
Man, here comes the big bad bullies of Ohio State. We lost 2 in a row to y'all. We can't have this.
In embarrassing fashion both years.
Oh, we can't have this. Oh no, we can't have this. We lost twice to y'all. Like when we had Urban Meyer, we were kicking y'all tails left and right. Y'all couldn't do nothing. Ryan Day, we got to
Yeah,
get you one, sir. We got to get you one.
Had one guy run for over 200 yards against him when they were in Ann Arbor the last time, and then had another running back in the fourth quarter run for 100 yards in the fourth quarter, and only held you 3 points in the second half when you played them last year in Columbus. Yeah.
And it was like, Ryan Day, we got to get you one. Nah. Not happening. Not
They weren't good enough.
Not
They weren't
in
good
our
enough.
house. No.
They weren't good enough. They weren't physical enough. And then that's the funny thing. Ohio State prided themselves on being physical. That the uglier it was, the better it would be. The problem though was that you had to force Michigan into making mistakes, and they didn't do it.
But your quarterback who decided to transfer was the one who made the mistakes.
Oh, McCord?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he was mistake prone in that game.
I can tell you probably the reason why he transferred is because of that game. Because Ohio State fan was like, bruh,
you ain't it,
bruh. They didn't have.
You only had one job, son.
They didn't have John Harbaugh on the sideline. All thing you needed was throw a touchdown. That's it. That's all you had to do. Throw a touchdown.
Because you know that's how they are. You only had one job, son. One. Beat that team up north, and you couldn't do it. He didn't want to hit that for a whole year.
All you had to do was beat Michigan, because they'll never say to him.
They don't say to him.
All you had to do was beat Michigan. That's it. That's all you had to do was beat Michigan.
Mm-hmm. But if you would have stayed on campus for the next 365 days, since we're in a leap year this year, for the next 365 days, he would have heard, you failed in Ann Arbor. You failed in Ann Arbor. Now, I hope you don't fail here in Columbus this year, but you failed in Ann Arbor. You failed in Ann Arbor. It would have been reminding him all the while. He didn't want to hear that crap, and he said, all right, deuces.
I'm sorry. I'm taking Michigan. They got over the hump. And when the team get over the hump, that is it. I can give you recent history. You can go to NFL. You can go to my Los Angeles Rams. As many times we got our butts kicked by the 49ers, guess who we had to go through in the NFC Championship game? The 49ers.
And actually played their game and beat them in their game.
And went on to win the Super Bowl. Cole can give you many memories of a team who finally got over the hump, and it's like, well, you ain't stopping them now. I'm going Michigan. They got over the hump.
And I'm definitely going Michigan simply because even though Michael Penix Jr. is the best, look, Jaden Daniels he's the beast, and I think he'll prove next year because I don't think he's coming out.
No, he's coming out.
I think he'll prove next. You think he's coming out?
He declared. That's why he went in the bowl game.
He declared.
That's why he didn't play in the bowl game.
Man, I was hoping he wasn't.
No, he declared. He declared
because I wanted to see him to have one more campaign in LSU before he bounced.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm interested in this quarterback class because everybody talking about Caleb Williams and Drake May. But I'm gonna let you finish though.
Well, doggone it, since you mentioned that Daniels declared, yeah, I don't think Caleb Williams is going to be the first quarterback on off the board, but that's for another conversation. Michigan in this game, I know they're going to win it, and they're going to win it simply because they have the more physical attributes that I love. I don't think Washington's physical enough where it matters most. They can protect Penix Jr., but I don't know if they can sustain a running game that could keep that Michigan front on its heels, because that's the only opportunity that Washington has of making this a game, like they did against Texas in the Sugar Bowl and like it did against Oregon both games. If they could keep their defensive front on their toes, make them not pin their ears back and say, okay, we're getting at number 9 and we're putting them to the turf. I don't think they are physical enough in a 60-minute ball game to do it all 60 minutes. And then when you flip it on the other side, Michigan wants to ram it down your throat. Show me a moment where you feel as though Washington is capable of withstanding a team that's just too physical and basically will just say, we are more men than you, you can't stop us. Here's this ball, we're running down your throat. We don't think you have what it takes to turn us back. And I think that's where it is.
I don't see it. So before we get out of here, One thing I do know about my good buddy Cole Johnson, he has a lot of gripe with the NCAA for many different reasons. And
Gosh.
he doesn't usually get the platform to do it. So I'm gonna give him my platform to do it.
Well, thank you. You know, it's amazing to me. It really is that we think of this as a governing body that's supposed to be all for the amateur athlete. And I mean, I can rail on them with how they mistreat basketball players, but of course, this is bearing down the gridiron, not bearing down the hard court. But you rule over them too, just like you rule over baseball, just like you rule over softball, just like you rule over swimming or track, and you definitely rule over football the most because that is the sport which earns you the most money. You claim that you are the arbiters of the sport. You claim that you are the caretakers of it. You claim that you have the best interest of the college athlete. Nothing is further from the truth. What you all are aligned in doing is having your pockets be fatter by the game. And this is the best time of year for you, right? I mean, other than maybe the Final Four, and even including the Final Four, the NCAA doesn't make as much money as they do right now. The bowl system and and you loop in the college football semifinal and the national championship. Of course, that will end this year. This is the time where you rake in the bucks, and you for the longest time was saying, being the hypocritical dolts that you are, that well, this is college athletes. They don't need to pocket any money. The name on the jersey is enough. I mean, come on. They're good. They're all good. Meanwhile, the pockets are getting fatter and fatter and fatter and fatter. You're making money off of these guys, and you're pumping and saying to them, well, the name on the front of the jersey should matter more than money. And now you're upset with NIL. NIL, for those who don't know, name, image, and likeness. You're upset that these collegiate athletes can earn money. And this should be a win for you guys, because now you can have college football players stay longer in your programs. And the more seasoned an athlete, the better the product. So you will actually have the opportunity to have fourth-year juniors and seniors stay on the program, and it will build the product, and it would make you more money. And now you're going into in an area where you're going to have 12 teams vie for the national championship instead of 4. Now, you could have had it this year happen, but ACC, you voted no, and you messed your own champion up because of it. The only motivating factor that you'll have is money. It's not the best interest of the schools. It's not the best interest of the deans. It's not the best interest of the programs. It's the best interest of your governing body. If it doesn't make dollars, it doesn't make sense. That is your motto. But you can't put that out there because you don't want to promote the fact that Indianapolis, which is where the headquarters of the NCAA is greedy. You don't want to put that out there, but you are. You're greedy. You want to dip your hand in every single cookie jar known to man or woman. Because right now, if you can find a way to get a little bit of the name, image, and likeness, and I know you're going to find a way to do it because it's just how you all are, then you'll be fine with NILs. But you just can't profit. And while I'm saying profit, I find it ridiculous that we can talk about a governing body that cares about the student athlete, yet when we had Coach Prime in Jackson State, he shined a huge light on the fact that you have just a corner of college football. It's actually just a corner of college athletics that they don't even get any type of great facility. They don't get any type of equipment. They're considered literally redheaded stepchildren, as opposed to the big boys, the Power Five. If you claim that you are about the student athlete, that you're about protecting them, that you're about making sure that they have all that they need to have, then you have to do right by these student athletes, whether the program is Michigan or if the program is Jackson State, whether it's Texas or Texas Southern, whether it's Tennessee or Tennessee State, whether it's North Carolina or North Carolina A&T. You got to stand up for those programs as you would if they are the programs that come every January and every April. They will give you the most money because they will put the most eyeballs on the screen, and you'll capture the most interest from those who love your product. You all are hypocrites. And you have proved it in many different ways, shapes, forms, and fashions all throughout these decades. And with the college football playoff, you've proven to be hypocrites again. You care about the schools? No. The next time you care about the school will be the first time. Because the only thing that you care about with these schools is how will it make us more money. You might as well have a mint in Indianapolis, because when it comes to the NCAA, that's really all that matters to you.
And by the way, y'all need to do something about this transfer portal. Because why do athletes get the transfer while the season's still going?
They can find a way to tinker with that too.
I'm just saying. Dude, we just talked about Ohio State. The quarterback transferred before the bowl game.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of sense is that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They're going to find a way to make that profitable too. And I do mean profitable.
Easy double A, y'all better get it together. Let's do me a favor. Don't touch March Madness. I love the way that is set up. Don't touch that.
I don't want to touch it either, but I get a feeling they will.
If you touch March Madness, you're going to ruin the greatest postseason sports there is. There's nothing like March Madness.
Well, hopefully next year that will change.
We'll see with the 12-team playoffs.
Yeah. They better not screw with that.
But we all know when it comes to March Madness, we know to expect the unexpected. It's a given.
One shining moment. I'm sorry, my bad. We're not again. This isn't bearing down the hardcourt. It's bearing down the gridiron. I'm sorry.
All right, that'll be it, ladies and gentlemen.
Ball is tipped. Oh, my bad.
That'll do it for bearing down the gridiron. Cole, where can the people find you at?
You can find me on many different platforms on YouTube at Cole Sports with a Z. At Revelations. This is all on YouTube. Comey Media, that's COMIMEDIA Incorporated. And on social media, you can reach me at flowcode.com/page/host Cole Johnson. That is flowcode.com/page/host Cole Johnson, all one word.
All right. Enjoy the national championship game. Will it be Jim Harbaugh leaving college football as a champion, or will Washington send Michael Penix to the NFL as a champion? We'll find out Monday. I can't wait to recap it on Snowman in the morning, because I'm pretty sure that's one thing he's going to have me talking about, or Cole going to have me talking about one of the two. I just know I'm going to talk about it next week sometime.
Yeah, more than likely.
Shout out to our brother Cool McCain for joining us in the chat.
Cool.
He wanted to be on, but he had things to do.
Yeah. I understand it, brother. Love you, man.
Until next time, or to next season, should I say, that's it for Bearing Down the Gridiron, Season 2.
You just experienced Bearing Down the Gridiron, hosted by Donnell, the Playmaker Silence, in collaboration with Arch Brothers Football. Bearing Down the Gridiron is sponsored by Lids, Fanatics, and Paramount Plus. If you enjoyed today's show and would like to make a donation, you can donate via Cash App at $the Playmakers at $the Playmakers. Remember, Bearing Down the Gridiron is available on all podcast directories, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, and YouTube. And for Apple Podcast lovers, leave us a rating review. Let us know what you enjoy about today's episode that you're listening to. Tune in again next time for more Bearing Down the Gridiron, hosted by the Playmaker.